The labor market in Australia is stable and relatively large. Employers are looking for qualified specialists in various fields, including information technology, engineering, medicine, finance, and tourism. Australia comes in the top 10 where people mostly go for work. The majority of people are working in Australia on work visa. There are many companies and organizations in Australia in need of foreign workers. The government of Australia has announced that they have increased the number of immigration in 2023. Australia has simplified some immigration processes this year in search of work. The Australian government has issued a temporary subclass 482 skills deficient visa. With this visa, you can come to Australia from any country and start a legal job. This visa is open to anyone from any country. You can work in Australia if you are a skilled worker, educated, engaged in many types of work. Anyone with any qualifications can apply for a sponsorship visa to Australia in 2023. Why do people mostly commute to work in Australia? Because 1. The strongest and most stable economy. 2. Pension payments. 3. Many career opportunities. 4. High minimum wage of 21.38 Australian dollars per hour. 5. High standard of living. Employment opportunities in Australia. Australia is a popular place where skilled workers can live, work, and settle. If you plan to work in Australia, you can apply for jobs in the sectors following the jobs. 1. Certified nurses. 2. High school teacher. 3. Software and application programmers. 4. Electricians. 5. Construction managers. 6. Carpenters. 7. Auto mechanics. 8. University teachers and tutors. 9. Lawyers. 10. General practitioners and residents. 11. Accountants. There are many sites where you can find jobs in Australia. Some of them are Seek, Indeed, Jora, CareerOn. It is also worth paying attention to specialized sites such as LinkedIn and Glassdoor. Advantages of working in Australia. A thriving economy. Australia's economy is one of the strongest and it ranks 14th. The country's financial growth has been steady over the past 3 decades. About 70% of the population aged 15 to 64 have a paid job. Housing. Housing in Australia can be quite expensive, especially in large cities such as Sydney and Melbourne. Some employers place their housing, but this is not guaranteed. Language barrier. English is the main language in Australia, and it may be necessary to work on some scales. If you have problems with the language, you can consider taking an English course. Medical care. Medicare is a universal healthcare program that provides basic inpatient and medical care to residents of Australia without any fees. Taxpayers allocate funds to the Medicare program by paying a 2% tax on their income. Quality of life. Educational institutions in Australia are of high quality because they provide excellent conditions. Australia provides many employment opportunities along with high wages and low cost of living. Options for obtaining a visa. Australia faces a shortage of qualified personnel and is dependent on immigration. The government has a policy of inviting immigrants from various walks of life under this program. 1. The General Program of Migration of Qualified Personnel. 2. Temporary Work Visas. 3. Working Vacation Visa. 4. Visas for Business Innovation and Investment. 5. Business Talents, Subclass 132 Visa. 6. Investor Visa of Subclass 893. Global Talent Visa. The Global Talent Visa is an opportunity for immigrants to permanently live and work in Australia. The country is facing a shortage of qualified personnel, and it wants immigrants to work in future-oriented sectors. Global Talent Visa is a path for immigrants to live and work permanently in Australia. The country is facing skills shortage, and it wants immigrants to work in future-focused sectors. The number of places available under this program is 15,000. Employer Nomination Scheme. The Employer Nomination Scheme consists of 3 streams, which are 1. Direct entry. A nomination is required from an Australian employer and the occupation has to be available in the eligible skill occupation list. Candidates who apply under this stream can stay in Australia permanently. 2. Labor agreement. This stream is for the employers who belong to the labor agreement. Employers have to nominate the immigrants and they should have an occupation available in the skilled occupation list. Candidates under this stream can work in Australia permanently. 3. Temporary residence transition. The requirement for this stream is that candidates have already worked with the current employer as a full-time employee for at least 3 years. A TSF visa, subclass 457 or other bridging visa is required to apply under this stream. Permanent residence visa. The subclass 191 visa was introduced in 2022 for giving permanent residency to the immigrants having provisional visas. It is also a pathway for Australian citizenship. Immigrants can apply for this visa if they have resided in Australia for at least 3 years under a regional provisional visa, which can be either 491 or 494. Regional Sponsored Migration Scheme. Immigrants nominated by an employer to work in regional Australia have the opportunity to apply for Australia PR through subclass 187 visa. Applicants have to go for a skills test before submitting their applications. Candidates need to have a bridging visa A, B, or C before applying for subclass 187. Skilled Employer-Sponsored Regional Visa. The subclass 494 visa permits applicants to live, work, and settle in any part of regional areas of Australia. Regional employers can sponsor skilled workers if they are unable to find skilled Australian workers. The validity of this visa is 5 years. Skilled Independent Visa. This is a points-based visa and has been introduced for those skilled workers who have not been sponsored by any employer, family member, estate, or territory. Applicants can live in Australia permanently through this visa. They have the right to work and study in Australia. The visa holders will also be able to enroll in the Medicare public health care. They will also have the opportunity of sponsoring their relatives to come to Australia for 5 years. Skilled Nominated Visa. The Skilled Nominated Visa is points-based, and candidates who score a 65 can apply for this visa. Candidates who meet the eligibility criteria can get permanent residency by a state government. Skilled Recognized Graduate Visa. The validity of the subclass 476 visa is 18 months, and it permits recent engineering graduates to live, study, and work in Australia. Candidates need to have a degree completed within the past 2 years from a reputed institution. After 18 months, the visa holders get the opportunity to apply for an Australia Skilled Visa. Applicants have to submit the requirements to apply for a subclass 476 visa, which include a passport copy, an IELTS certificate, and many more. Skilled Regional Visa. Immigrants who hold the subclass 887 visa can stay in Australia temporarily to work, study, or perform any other duty. Visa holders are also allowed to travel to and from Australia. Immigrants who stayed in Australia for 2 years are eligible for this visa. Visa holders are also allowed to sponsor their family members to migrate to Australia. Skilled Work Regional Visa. The subclass 491 visa holders have the permission to stay, live, and work in a designated region in Australia. The validity of this visa is 5 years. The visa also provides a pathway to apply for an Australia PR visa. Subclass 491 will also become eligible to apply for subclass 191 visa, which helps in applying for an Australia PR. Temporary Graduate Visa. The subclass 485 is a temporary visa, which permits the visa holders to live, study, or work after the completion of studies. There are 4 streams in this visa listed below. 1. Graduate Work Stream. 2. Post-Study Work Stream. 3. Second Post-Study Work Stream. 4. Replacement Stream. The validity of the visa depends on the stream under which applications have been sent. Temporary Activity Visa. The Temporary Activity Visa is given to those immigrants who stayed in Australia during lockdown and their current visa has expired. This visa will allow the visa holders to stay in Australia legally. Candidates need to be either working or should have enough funds to stay in the country. Temporary Work Visa. The subclass 400 visa permits the holders to enter Australia for a short-term, highly specialized work. The visa holders can participate in activity in limited circumstances. Temporary Skill Shortage Visa. This visa allows employers to hire trained and skilled workers temporarily. The validity of this visa is 2 years. Visa holders can travel to and from Australia many times till the validity of the visa. This visa is a pathway to the Australia PR. Eligibility criteria for work visa in Australia. Candidates who are planning to migrate to Australia to live, work, and settle here have to meet the eligibility criteria mentioned below. 1. An Australian employer has to sponsor the immigrants to work in Australia. 2. Age of applicants should be below 45 years. 3. Job has to be listed in the eligible skilled occupations list. 4. Language proficiency should be of at least competent level. 5. Work experience should be of 3 years. 6. Necessary skills will be needed for a job. In some cases, skills assessment may be conducted. 7. Agree to work with an employer for at least 2 years. 8. Meet the requirements for health and character. Requirements for a work visa to Australia. Applicants must have with them a checklist of requirements required to apply for a work visa. 1. Passport. 2. Australian visa form. 3. Paid visa fee. 4. One identity picture. 5. National identity card. 6. Evidence of financial means. 7. Health insurance. 8. Evidence of temporary stay. 9. Accommodation reservations. 10. Employer permission letter. 11. Invitation letter. Steps to apply for Australia work visa. Step 1. Submit EOI. Applicants have to submit an EOI on Skill Select. They have to wait till the time an Australian state or territory nominates them. After that, they have to wait for invitations to apply. Step 2. Checklist of requirements. Each work visa needs different types of requirements which applicants have to collect to submit with the visa application. Some of them are passport, police certificate, medical certificate, offer letter, etc. Step 3. Apply for the Australia work visa. Fill out the application form online. All the information in the form has to be fulfilled. Wait for confirmation. Applicants will get confirmation that their applications and requirements have been received. Wait for the result. Applicants will get a letter in writing whether their application is approved or rejected. If the application is approved, candidates will receive 1. Visa grant number. 2. Start date of the visa. 3. Visa conditions. If the visa is refused, applicants will receive the reason behind the rejection. Right to review the decision may or may not be granted. Applicants have to know that in the case of refusal, visa application fee will not be refunded.